actually, but hey, figured I would get a quick like 5 minute live stream in. I've actually got to head to dinner. I'm about to have dinner with Rachel, and so I'm gonna head out in like 5 minutes. But figured, you know what, I'm gonna stop putting off. I want to do my first live stream and just get it done. Just get the process, like better understand how it works, that sort of thing. So to do that, since I have no questions to answer, it might be cool to answer some topic for self-improvement, and I'm just gonna scroll through, see anything that I'm interested in, and see if I can answer it. So hopefully this won't be too terrible. I apologize. It's telling me I've got a very, very bad connection. I'm on the 50th phone up here. It won't be too terrible. I will delete it and redo this. It's too terrible, but let's jump in. Okay, so I think the reason it's so difficult to get out of the comfort zone, I think the reason that we have a hard time dealing with that and doing more than we're comfortable with is because it requires change, and as humans we tend to avoid change. So what I mean by that, to our like monkey mind, predict change is something we can't. Many times we can't, like, whether or not it's dangerous. That's ultimately what it comes down to. The reason we have the ability to categorize, because it allowed us, as we were evolving, to very quickly determine danger, not danger. Any attention on things that were dangerous. Change is, it's something we have to categorize, and it's often difficult. And so getting out of our comfort zone represents easily categorize, represent doing something that we can't easily identify, to move away from. Obviously do this on a day-to-day basis fully, but that is why we do not want to be out of our comfort zone, because the comfort zone might be dangerous, and so deal with that in order to fight against that and create something that allows us to stay the monkey mind and override it with logical decision making. You're doing when you can be conscious about your thoughts, comfort zone. So this is why people like Tim Ferriss, does that look like? Because when you do that, to get a really clear, like written out, worst case scenario actually is it's taken out, because all of a sudden you realize it's really not that bad. And all of a sudden you realize how many options you have if this fails. So quitting your job, this is something that many people want to do, quit their job and do entrepreneurship, but it's not an easy thing. It's a pretty dramatic change. If you were to sit down and write a case scenario, you get logical about it. You get to be in control of your thoughts. Things. So you shut off the initial monkey mind and you start to understand on a much more danger. And so now you can start to, again, logically understand, well, that's really not all that bad. There's not all that much danger. I can get another job if I need to. I do have savings. I can do X, Y, and Z. And then because you're able to overcome that initial emotional reaction, all of a sudden you can put yourself in. I would answer that question. It's tough to get out of your comfort zone because it's change, because we don't to do things that tend to know for a fact whether or not they're dangerous, and start to gain consciousness over. So next question: what is the one skill that, if you have it, will completely change your life? Pretty interesting. So at least for our modern world, and that will allow you to get people, whether it's because you need a sale or it's because you need to get a promotion, or you just want to connect better with your partner, whatever it might be. Communication tends to solve it if you're able to get the stuff in your head out more clearly. Everything else can fall into place. Next one, I am 25 and what should I do? So tough, because I mean, I guess you kind of have to defend or he actually means. A lot of people say they're very lazy. You know, you're really not all that lazy. I would consider why you feel lazy, not doing the things you want to do. Um, so I did an episode around this time last year of Tiny Leaps, Big Changes that was essentially about procrastination and why we procrastinate. And one of the big reasons is that we just do it. We know we want to do it, but we don't have any interest in it. And as a result, we procrastinate, we put it off. And it's simple, like it's pretty straightforward. So I would just question why you're being lazy. Maybe the things that you think you should do aren't what you actually want to do. And as a result, you are quote unquote lazy. Maybe if you had something more interesting to do, you wouldn't be that lazy. I'm sure there are moments in your life. And so I would just question that. I would really sit down and even just get pen and paper out and just like write it out. Like, why am I lazy? What is the reason behind my laziness? I think you'll find a pretty interesting answer to that question. Next, how can I stop being? This is a good one. So I am naturally introverted, and I would say you shouldn't try to stop being an introvert. What you should do instead is try to embrace the natural strengths of an introvert to be better at communication. So here's what I mean. Like I said, I'm an introvert, but I do have the ability to speak on a stage. I do have the ability to be at a party and in a crowd and comfortable and all of those things. Being introverted versus being extroverted is really less about social situations and more about where you pull your energy. So an extrovert is someone who is wants to be in the crowd because that's where they get energized, and an introvert is someone who gets energized by themselves or in small groups. And so it's less about your abilities in social situations and more about where your energy comes from. Regardless of where the energy comes from, you can still be a functioning human being in social situations, and maybe it's difficult because you can force yourself to do it. My path, very shy. I was very introverted and a public speaker. I wanted to be known. I wanted to have a, and so I forced myself out of my comfort zone. That the normal, say this is you. This circle around you is your comfort zone. I went so far out here. Everyday stuff of talking to people and so on and so forth became super easy because it was more comfortable than the extreme than I had gone to. So it was fine. So yeah, I would focus on number one, embrace what is good about being an introvert, meaning you're good at one-to-one conversation, you're good at listening, you're good at observing and understanding and really processing what's going on. Embrace that, use it as a strength, and stop trying to change yourself into an extrovert because it's not going to work. I've tried years before I finally stopped and just embraced what I actually am. And then number two, understand that being an introvert doesn't mean you can't be good in social situations. It just means where you get your energy is not social. And so by knowing that, you can develop the skills, the communication skills, the ability to have a conversation by doing it, by pushing yourself further and exiting your comfort zone. And then so last question here. What 10 things can I do now to have a better life? Now, I'm not going to answer 10. I don't have time for that, to be honest. I've got to head out. But I am going to say what one thing you can do to have a better life. So outside of the earlier question of what one skill, communication, what is one thing you can do to have a better life? I think is start reading nonfiction and fiction. So there's two things. First, nonfiction is about education. It's about learning from somebody else's mistakes. It's about improving yourself. It's about exploring the real world and getting a better understanding of how to be a part of it. And so I love nonfiction for that. Fiction is about stretching your imagination. It's about becoming a better thinker. It's about becoming a more creative person. If you want to have a better life, I would say to focus on starting to read 30 books per year and having a balance between fiction and nonfiction. And you can go straight down the middle. You can go 15 nonfiction, 15 fiction. But set your goal every year at 30 per year. And I would highly, highly recommend that you read more fiction, read more nonfiction, because that's going to help you become a better person. That's going to help you navigate the world better and have the skills and the ability to think in a way that helps you to make better decisions, which when it will enable you to have a better life. So I'm going to end this. I've got to run to dinner. So hopefully this wasn't too terrible. I know the connection was bad. No one hopped on, so you guys are watching the replay anyway. But I will see you in the next one. Definitely going to do more of these. I like this Q&A format. So if you've got some questions, drop them in the comments or on the comments of any of my other videos, and I will answer those in the next one. Peace.